Sorry about my voice,
All
man.
right, people.
Sorry about my voice,
You're
bro.
listening to Discord Radio.
Hold on. I just had some feedback there. Sorry about it. Came down with a bad flu and a bad cold on the first, which was really awesome. And I have to say sorry again to the people that was listening on the first. Yeah, I let the mixes going, which was the plan. But I also wanted to animate a little bit, but something personal came up, so I had to leave the station. Sorry about that. I couldn't, come back and just do it. So I flushed the show down the toilet, basically, like I put on Twitter. All right. So if y'all wondering, something personal happened. So and I'm sorry about that. I'm actually pretty sick right now, as I'm talking, and you can hear it probably, but it's not too bad. I'm still here, man. I can still do the radio show. It might not be very aesthetic for your ears. I will try to correct that as much as possible with my voice. I'll try not to do any nose sound or things of that matter as much as possible. But I also wanted to do the radio show and talk to you guys outside, talk to you guys out here, doing the thing, doing whatever you're doing, either you're at work or you're listening from your home or whatever in your car, whatever, or just outside chilling. I don't know, but this one's for you guys. So like. Last time we were talking about this is the spirituality section, like I told you, I wanted to leave like the music section to my new host, which will be doing the show pretty soon. So I'm gonna leave that for him. I will be coming on doing shows also for myself. I'll probably like just translate his shows in English so you guys can like actually understand what was going on, what was going on, and yeah, basically. So I'm gonna do that. And what else? Like I told you, um, I'm real sorry about what happened on the first, man. I'm real sorry about what happened on the first. It wasn't on in my plans, but I left the mixes. I think the mixes kind of covered my back a little bit, just a little bit, because I think the mixes were pretty good mixes and such and such. So I hope so. I don't know, but I hope so, man. And I haven't heard anybody just try to kill me yet, so it must have been not bad. Anyway, so like I said, we were talking about the spirituality of the day. We talked about a lot of things basically. We talked a lot about a lot of things. We talked about like emotions. We talked about like man, the power of the self, the power of inside, the power of emotions, how the mind reacts with your emotions to activate certain, synapses, spiritual synapses. If I can invent a term for myself, sorry about that. But that's how you do it, man. That's how you do it, man. And I've been checking out YouTube, and there's a lot of stuff coming out about it now. But I don't want to talk about anything that's on YouTube, man. I want to tell you things that most people might not actually just come out and tell you, man. Some people might know, some people might not know it. The people that know it, well, you're lucky. For the people that don't know, well, listen here, I'll tell you. All right. So just give me a second here. Like I told you, man, I am wild sick, man. It's crazy. It's insane. Anyway, so it's a great day to start the year. Anyway, with that said, sorry about that. Yo, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. I got a lot of things to tell you today. I got a lot of things to tell you today, and I'm gonna jump right into it right now, man. Like I said, man, you gotta do a little bit of soul searching. I didn't talk about soul searching the other day, but I think it's very important to do a little bit of soul searching. The reason why I didn't talk about soul searching the other day is because I didn't want this to be a kind of podcast that, um, how can I say, uh, that isn't practical. All right, because I know a lot of you dudes out there, you're like, man, I got this going on, I got that going on, I ain't got time to soul search, I ain't got time to do all that. Well, that's fine, that's okay. But at some time and point, you're gonna have to do it. All right, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're gonna have to do it, just like everybody else. All right, and some people do it like they don't even realize they're doing it, but they're doing it. So it's kind of it kind of gets crazy because person it's not because you're going to work all every day and you're a workaholic and you're blah 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 that you're not soul searching. As a matter of fact, your soul searching might be your main route for your soul searching. As a matter of fact, because you're so like you're so involved emotionally into your work and it's so important to you that you actually built yourself. You're like you kind of did a deus ex machina. If you don't know what a deus ex machina is, it's a god machine. If you look it up in the dictionary, that's what it means. It means god machine. All right, so you just made a Deus Ex Machina, man. By going to work all day, you put all your energy in it. You put all your spirit in it. You build things up. You physically build things up, like with your hands. I'm talking about like you talk to the right people to make sure it's running right. You set up business account. You set up computer mainframes at your work. That right there kind of makes you like God, basically. You know, you're not God. Don't slow down now. Hold up. Wait a minute. You ain't God. But in that little world of yours, I hate to say it, but you kind of made yourself God, you know? And some people might, the reason why I just said I hate to say is because some people might see it as, oh man, that's nonsense, man. I ain't got time for all that stuff. I ain't got time for all that stuff. I'm just trying to work and do my things and feed my kids and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, well, I'm sorry to say it, but if you look at it from an outside perspective and you look at all what you did, which are accomplishments, still they are still accomplishments, but that's what you did. You created this ex machina, man. So like instead of putting all that energy into yourself and into like growing to be a better person or better yourself, not just saying you're a bad person or whatever, but if you put all that energy like into something else instead of yourself, that's why it's a deus ex machina, because it's a machine. You didn't you just created a robot. You know, you created a self-sufficient robot, and you yourself you have now a symbiotic uh you have a symbiotic life with this machine, whereas you cannot live without that machine and that machine cannot live without you, as of opposedly you being yourself, empowered and strong, cheerful, I don't know, excited about life, excited about stuff. You yourself you don't have that inside you. So, like, the machine you created replaces everything that was supposed to be inside you. You basically put everything inside you into that machine. So the machine cannot live without you because you have to turn it on, but you can't live without that machine because if you don't turn it on, then you're lost. You know, you're completely lost. You don't know what to do. You don't know what's out there. What's the point of anything? So it's easy to get lost, and it's easy for me to say it also. But I do that sometimes, man. But I do that sometimes, but the thing is, I hate to, I'm gonna be very blunt and honest, but my lack of, uh, how dare I say, my lack of how can I say this? Maybe my lack of popularity is not the right word, but it's in layman's terms. That's what I'm trying to say. My lack of uh, popularity keeps me from losing myself into my work. uh, it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's not good because, well, it's messing with my money. But at the same time, it's a good thing because I have to consistently get back to myself and realize that I am not the machine, that there's other thing going on outside of the machine, you know. But if I could, I wouldn't. Well, no, I won't. I'm not gonna say that. If I could, I'm not. I wouldn't, lose myself into the machine. But I would spend more time into it. I would spare more time, and I say this very bluntly and openly and honestly because I know myself. I know myself. I know why I would do it. I don't say it's a necessarily good thing. Sorry about that. I don't say it's a necessarily good thing, but I would, leave off a lot more of me into that machine so I could, escape certain thoughts and escape certain life situations, you know. So with that said, a lot of us do that on a daily basis and most of the time. So that's why soul searching is good because you have to be able to separate the machine from the man. All right, because most of us, I don't know about everybody on the planet, but most of us aren't cyborgs. All right, I watch Star Trek, and all that stuff, and the cyborg look pretty cool. But you know what? I don't want to look like that. But anyway, I'm just messing around, man. What I'm trying to say is, you have to go look inside of yourself and find whatever that you put into that machine that you like, whether it's your heart, your determination, your perseverance, and that energy you can use to do a lot more and other things, especially if you put less time into that machine. But that's the thing, how can I make the difference between putting less time into the machine than myself? And well, that depends on, I'd hate to say, but it depends on your business. It depends on your business, and it depends on what kind of business you're running. If your business dictates or demands that you spend more than 40 hours of work to actually make it run, then you have to put in 40 hours of work to make it. During that time, I'm sure in those 40 hours, I mean, like there's what, how many, like there's, you have more than you have more than 86 hours in the week. So, you have like so something close to 130 hours in a week, 180 hours in a week. So, like, do uh like I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3 hours in your whole week that you can use a lot more than that. But if you have to use 40 hours of actual work and then another, like, what, something like 80 hours of potential work, which means you have to create stuff, organize, and blah blah blah, make sure everybody gets their messages, know what to do, and then yeah yeah blah blah blah. At the same time, try to make it fun. If that's how much time it takes for you to do, whatever you have to do, try to make it fun at least. And when I mean fun, I'm not talking about like, oh, open up a bunch of bottles of scotch and start drinking like crazy, and nah, man, just what I'm trying to say by fun is, try to enjoy, try to do things you like to do, like actual things that you like to do with your actual hands and feet and whatever, or even your mouth. If you like to sing, take an hour out, start watching videos on YouTube and start singing, and then get back to work. And or I don't know, if you like to draw, take an hour out, start drawing something. As soon as you're done drawing, man, you can't take 2 hours to draw. You can take 3 hours, however long it takes for your drawing to be done. Finish your drawing, or if you feel like you don't feel like drawing anymore, just stop. Don't force things. Don't force it. Don't be like, oh well, he told me to draw today, so I'm gonna draw. And no, that's not what you want. What you want is, man, you just, sometimes you're in the perfect example. Sorry to use that example, so pardon your ears, but when you're on the can and you're thinking about stuff, it just comes up. You know, it's the same thing. When you're working, you're working, and something just comes up in your head that seems fun, do it. Just do it. Don't do it too long because then you're going to be counterproductive. But just do that and then go back to work. You know, and don't force that thing. Don't tell yourself, well, I have to have fun. Because if you have to have fun, then you're not having fun. If you're forcing yourself to do an activity, then it's not fun anymore. You know, so you gotta watch out. You gotta watch yourself, basically, man. You gotta watch yourself, and the correlation between that and soul searching is very freaking simple and intricate at the same time. Pardon my language, but you know, I can't stress this enough. Like some people deny the fact, and some people are like, "Oh man, it can't be that simple. It's a lot harder, man. I gotta meditate, and I gotta do this, and I gotta drink, vegetable juice, and with liang, whatever the heck that is. I don't even know myself, but whatever, man. And I gotta drink like some Indian herbal tea that came from I don't know where on the planet. No, man, that's not it. Uh, you see that little part where you're having fun and you're not asking yourself, but you're letting yourself guide yourself. See what I just did there? Guide yourself, like you guiding yourself. You're soul searching. That means during that period where you're doing that, all right, you have to take as you are drawing, singing, looking at funny videos, I don't know, whatever you like to do. I don't know what you like to do, but you like to do that thing, do it. So, like, while you're doing that, uh, have a little second of reflection also. Have a moment of reflection where, you think about where you're going in life. And I know some of you don't worry about it. There's that easy thought that's gonna come into your mind. That's like one of the first thought when you start relaxing, and you're at work, but you start relaxing a little bit. Then you have that thought that's be like, "Am I gonna make it? Am I is my future all right? Am I uh, is the paycheck gonna come tomorrow, or is um will I be successful and all that stuff?" And it's fine to think about it, but don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it too much, man. Like I reflect on every aspect of your life, and don't reflect too hard. Don't reflect too hard, because then you'll go into a depression. If you have something in that reflection that has not been dealt with yet, so don't delve too hard. Just think about it. Think about it. You're what you're doing is you're creating a pattern in your mind to make yourself remember the things that you have to do, the things that are important to you, and the things that will probably come if you work out, or you do this or you do that. So even in the fun things, you might get better at drawing, you might get better at singing, you might get smarter from reading more books, obviously. You might, I don't know, have more subject to talk about with your coworkers because you are, delved into so many things. So, because that's also a skill, well, per se. But you know what I'm getting at here. So, like, the soul searching is not something that's immensely uh, tough to do. It's not this a holy grail of this self knowledge that everybody makes it out to be. It's very simple. It's very intimate. First of all, it's very simple and it's very intimate. So you don't have to stress about it. It's not something. It's not gonna kill you. You know. It's not, yeah, it's not gonna hurt you. So, I'm gonna take a short break because my nose is running and I'm pretty sure you can hear it. So I'm sorry about that. And I'm gonna come right back after this little music break. And what we're gonna go into, I heard a song that I wanted to listen to a couple moments ago that I thought was pretty good, but I think I lost it. So you know what? We're gonna go with some Kate Renata at all. I really like that song. So we're gonna go into some Kate Renata. You're listening to Discord Radio. Oh, and by the way, you're listening to Set here on Discord Radio. Have a good day. Back on Discord Radio, man. And like I told you, you just listened to Kate Renata at all. Came out a couple years back. Actually, like in 2014, 15. Pretty good track. Kate Renata's doing big things out here. Native of Montreal, Canada. Doing big things out there in the United States with a lot of artists. I don't know if he's gonna go, if he's gonna go on the Trump inauguration. Anyway, we don't see about that. Anyway, so like I said, we were talking about soul searching, and the power of self. I see a lot of people, trying to or tell him that these days it's very different. Like when the 2000s started, when the millennium started, everybody was asking themselves. Well, before that, people were asking themselves if there was more. You know, when the millennium started, people started actually looking into stuff. We have a lot more information now. We have a lot more things that we can information we can gather from other places. But lately, it seems like a lot of people like think that they found the answer. Like they know what's going on. Well, one thing that many enlightened people will tell you is that they don't know anything. Because and it's true. Like the more you figure out things, the less you realize you know. You know so it's very it's quite disconcerting to me to watch these things happen, because a lot of people actually think that this is it, they found it, this is the holy grail. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Well, maybe you don't know it, and maybe you should just think about where you stand in all of this, instead of what everything else stands with you. I mean, like this is how I look at the world, as I am one guy standing in the middle of the universe. Like I'm literally in the middle of the universe, and I'm just standing there, just floating. Because that's basically all of us. That's what we are. We're just singular individuals standing in the middle of the universe, sitting down or standing in the middle of the universe. And it's very, you have that thought, it might shake you a little bit, because you kind of realize that, man, the universe is big, and I'm just a dude standing in there. That's it's kind of crazy. Anyway, so just a side note, a brief side note, um, on the question that soul searching. Um, a lot of people have. I'm not gonna say people. I'm gonna say guys, man. I'm gonna talk to dudes right now. I'm gonna talk to dudes right now. I ain't saying girls, girls, girls got the answer. Girls got everything, man. But I'm to talk, especially the dudes, because women are a little bit more in touch with their emotional side. Their sensitivity, their receptivity, um, and dudes need to learn how to be receptive. It might not be something that you think is part of you, but it is. Every human and animal, or even insect, are capable of receptivity, reception. Um, whereas ants use little antennas. They don't even need to see stuff. They can actually feel the things coming. They use their little antennas. They can communicate with each other and stuff. It's kind of crazy. Like they have a hive mind. They work as a hive mind. Same thing for bees. Bees use hive minds. Animals can predict when somebody's sick, somebody's gonna is gonna fall, is gonna die, or if they're their own death, they can feel their own death coming. So that's because they're receptive. They understand the laws of nature and how it affects them and each other also. And that's what receptivity is. A little exercise that I used to do for receptivity. I used to read tarot cards. All right, I still do it from time to time. I don't do it all the time, but I still do it from time to time. I used to read tarot cards to be receptive, but you must understand that reading tarot cards is not the best of action to take, because it's a you're opening yourself you're opening yourself, and you're also opening a door to another a realm of a existence, because that's what receptivity also is. It's opening yourself and opening a door to a new state of mind, and it can go a lot deeper than just being a state of mind. It depends on how you do it. There's some people that actually have like rituals with their tarot cards and all of that and that sort. I'm not into all of that stuff. I just try to understand what's going on. That's why I use those cards. I try to understand if or try to see if I can actually use my own receptivity in a practical manner, which would be the tarot, which would be the card. Um, and I'm not gonna say it works. I'm not gonna say it doesn't work because that's not important. The important thing is that I try to practice it. There are other ways to collect receptivity, which is this is what I'm talking to dudes because I know you guys are macho, man, and I know, man. I have a electronic, show where a lot of you dudes are a little bit, like it's YOLO, man. You only live once and you don't care about nothing. Well, it's not that you don't care, but you don't let stuff get to you, which is good, which is good. But at some time point, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna grow up and you're gonna be like, man, I feel something, but I know exactly what it is. So saying that, um, receptivity is all about awareness. It's about feeling whatever's around you, feeling the good energies around you, and you especially want to do that. You especially want to feel the good energies around you, man. Some people. Some good people out there read the Bible and they get good vibes from reading the Bible. Some people, um you know, they go to the woods and they just sit there and just let in front of a lake and they let it sink in. And hey, you might as well be with a beer and still you're by yourself. You're just sitting there. You just finish fishing a couple trouts, and you're just sitting there looking at the lake, and it's beautiful. You see the sun's reflection on the lake and the blue skies or the cloudy skies, but not dark skies. Just a very cloudy day. Nice little nimbus clouds, and looking at you, you're looking at it, and it feels great. You're in fresh air. There's no gas. There's no nothing. It's easy to feel a bit more receptive. I bet you, if somebody came at the exact moment, you're so calmed and tempered that at exact moment, if somebody told you the world was gonna end, you'd be like, meh, so what? You know. Of course, you're gonna panic a little bit later, but I'm just saying, hold on here. Having okay. So you have this humans have this thing where they can understand whatever's going on with somebody else, especially as sometimes you see your friend and he doesn't necessarily look like he has a bad day, but you just feel something, something's not right, man. That's you being receptive. Or you have the feeling, you get the phone rings and you have this feeling that it's going to be bad news or it's going to be good news. You just have a weird feeling about it. Or your best friend. Sometimes I had a best friend, and sometimes I knew by the tone of the ring in the house that it was him. Like I could tell. Like I could tell that when I picked up the phone, I was like, "Yo, it's you," and he's like, "Yeah, how you know it's me? Whatever." And even to him, and that's not even true. Like even to him, he didn't really, he knew that I would know that it was him. Anyway, it's weird. Sometimes when you're somebody with, more than a couple hours in a day, you kind of get this. Anyway, so same things with your girlfriend. You also know when she's, when she's peed or when she's happy, and she doesn't necessarily have to tell you. It's because you spend so much time with the person that you're receptive to all of her nicks and knacks. So how she turns. You know how her world turns. So it's the same thing with the world. It's the same thing with yourself. You have to know your nicks and knacks, and you also have to be very because you can't know the nicks and knacks of the whole world, but you have to be very how do you say, um, well, that's the word. You have to be aware of you have to be aware that the world also has certain nicks and knacks, and they work a certain way, and that's why sorry about that. That's why you're receptive. Um, so with that said, you use your receptivity by channeling, by letting through uh, certain feelings. I'm not talking about like sadness, anger, pain, or stuff like that. I'm talking about letting through feelings, letting through how do you say? I don't want to say precognitive, but um, intuition. You have to let certain intuitive feelings come to the surface and not necessarily suppress them all the time in order for you to be receptive to whatever's going on, or you need to find out, or and that makes you very clear on things. So that's how the reason why I'm talking about receptivity is because that's one way of knowing what is true and what is not. So when you go, let's say at a seminar, you go at a spiritual seminar or a personal growth seminar where the guy is talking about how to build your business up, and you must do this and you must do that, and you got to wake up, and so uh, dude might be right, but it's probably not necessarily exactly what you need. So you have to know what is true and what is not true to you, and to the situation. But dude might be lying, I don't know, or dude might be saying all of the right things, but that doesn't mean it's true to you. It doesn't mean that it's true to your situation. You must find out what is your situation. You must find out who are you. You have to find who you are. That's why soul searching is good. And that's also why, I just answered two questions at the same time. That's also why you shouldn't, tell yourself, "What, I don't got time for this. I can't do that," because you're probably already doing it and you don't even know. So you can't just blatantly, discard something because you don't necessarily understand it. That's a very bad thing to do. It's like I saw this movie once. I think it was with Morgan Freeman. Yeah, Spider, I think, or something like that. It was a serial killer. The guy said a brain's a very terrible thing to waste. I think also somebody like Shakespeare or someone like that said that once. Anyway, I don't, or Mark Twain. Anyway, so dude said the brain is a very terrible thing to waste. And it's true. A brain is a very terrible thing to waste because your greatest weapon is your mind. Your greatest weapon is your mind. So you use your brain, you can get into any situation and you can get out of any situation, mostly more than most of the time, you know but it takes a certain sense of knowing oneself, and not just basic run of the mill common sense and logic, but it also takes a certain sense of knowing yourself. So I'm gonna just cut it right here. Sorry about that. I know I spoke a little bit longer on the other half, but I'm gonna cut it right here because I got some coffee boiling and I don't want it to burn. So I'll be right back after this track. All right. Let's listen to Atlas carried mishap that happened there. Don't know what happened, but we're back. We're on, and you listen to what Henry's Crinkle. Sorry about that. Tulpa and Atlas carried away, and that was Hounded with a I forget the name of the track. Feel So Right featuring Bamia, which I like very much. Okay, so um, man, we were talking about like a personal growth. Basically, we were talking about soul searching. Um, we talked about earlier, like I said earlier, during last week before the week. Happy New Year's, by the way, everybody. Forgot to say that. I also forgot to say that you're listening to Set here on Discord Radio. And Happy New Year's, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for being there, and all that good stuff. I wish you guys health and wealth for everyone, family, friends, and all of that good stuff. A lot of wealth, a lot of wealth, and a lot of health. Because without health, you can't appreciate the wealth. So, goes hand in hand. All right. So, um, man, we talked about a lot of stuff, man. We talked about a lot of stuff. I hope you got it down. I hope you got it down. I'm gonna put this podcast on probably on Facebook. Well, I'm gonna edit it first, and then I'm gonna put it on Facebook. I'm probably not gonna put it like right away, but it might be here during the day. So you might want to hit up Discord Radio. I'll put up the podcast over there. I'll put the podcast as much place as I can. I don't know if I wanna, cause I would put it on my a website, but like I wanna have a cool looking podcast thingamajig, whatever. All right, so I'll put it on the internet. Don't worry about it. Should have done that with the two other podcasts, but this is like a kind of a special. I think it's gonna be like I'm gonna make like something like 10 10 to 20 episodes max of this, because that's the thing. Writing a book, if you write a book about something like this, you can put a lot of stuff in it. You can put a lot of stuff in it. If you talk about it, well, you might as well just just blur out everything. Um, which you probably can. I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, in the book it takes longer to explain than actual vocabulary words, and but sometimes the book is easier to understand than the vocabulary words anyway. So that's why multi-platforms are good, because some people are more visual, some people are less visual, um, and all of that stuff. So just give me a second here, because some people. Okay, I just wanted to see if there was a little problem there. But like I said, some people are more visual, some people are more audio visual than others. Some people are more used to having going to lectures and all of that stuff, so they understand the lingo. But some people just like to read books, which is fine also. So writing a book about this, gonna come out a little bit later, maybe mid 2008, 2018 or 19, um, dependently. Uh, Maybe 2020. I don't know. The same year Kanye West is gonna run for president. I don't know. I'm just messing around. And like I said, the power of the voice is a very good way to practice this so-called power of the mind that people seem to adore. But a lot less people seem to like it nowadays, though, because I think a lot of people tried and saw the tribulations of doing that type of thing. It's not a format that's totally wrong. I wasn't necessarily on board with it. I've delved in it, a lot, hence my book. But, at the same time, I kind of understand why people are like giving so much hate towards it nowadays, because, well, it's not that easy as, they make it seem to be in the books or the lectures or the blah blah blah. They make it seem like it's so simple, and it's like ABC 1 2 3. It's not at all. It's actually quite difficult. There's actually some strife attached to it, depending on the person and what kind of situation you're in. So you can't just say someone that I don't know, has a very hard drug habit. All right, takes hard drugs. But he sees that stuff, and he's a logical dude still. He's not completely, I mean, he's not brain dead or something like that, but he has a drug problem, and he looks at those seminars, or he listens to stuff like that on the internet, or I don't know, he bought the book. So he starts applying these mechanics to his own life, and try to make it a little bit better, and make it probably he's gonna get out of that little situation of his, without knowingly uh, without necessarily knowing that he has to basically, for someone in that particular predicament, he would have to basically erase his whole identity, like almost everything about him would have to go, like almost everything, apart from his brain, like, and for someone like that, that only knows that, and that's always been in that, you can't just ask him from today to tomorrow, just flip everything over, which would actually be a good thing. But let's be real here. I mean, it's gonna take some time. you know and that guy, he probably knows that it's gonna take some time, but guess what? At some time point, he's gonna give up. You know why? Because it's too hard, it's too long, it's too complicated, and he doesn't want to find himself. He doesn't want to live by himself. The dude likes people. Dude likes hanging around people. Dude likes being with people. So unfortunately, maybe the people around him aren't necessarily that good people either, or it could be the contrary, and he just feels bad, and he can't hang around the good people because he kind of feels guilty and shit inside, because, pardon my language, he kind of feels guilty inside because he has a bad drug habit, and he can't shake it, and he doesn't want to influence, or he doesn't want people to see him as something else, as they don't he doesn't want to be seen as a how do you call it, a circus freak, or something of that sort. So there's a lot of aspect and a lot of psychological trauma involved with just jumping into something like that without actually having all the resources and the information according attached to it. So with that said, it's quite easy to mistake yourself and do something that you're not necessarily willing to do. And it's not even that. Probably the person wants to do it. It's just it just finds it hard. So a lot of people nowadays, and it's not even that. Doesn't even have to be like a drug problem or something like that. Some people just tried it and just didn't like it. Straight up. I've met a lot of people that was like, man, I don't like it. I met a lot of people that was like, they totally liked it, and they live their life by it, and they swear by it, and you can't tell them the contrary because they will not hear it. And the contrary is existent too. I've met some people that don't want to hear about it because it didn't change ish for them. And I might go as just to defend my case, but I might go as well as, I don't even think that it didn't work. It's just I don't think it didn't work the way you thought it would work. So it kind of pisses you off. Pardon my language, but because it did the same thing to me, man. Because uh, I was living in a bad per se. I was living in a bad neighborhood a couple years ago. I was living in a bad neighborhood, and that was I was trying to change my life, and change my this and that, and find myself. I wasn't surrounded by necessarily bad folks. It was just a, a poor area of town. Right, it was a poor area of town, and I wasn't necessarily close to bad people themselves. But the thing is, while I was giving to get back, you know, I soon realized that I was giving and getting back from people that didn't have anything to give in the first place. So that right there, I kind of stopped. That made me stop right there because I'm like, dude, I don't want to get stuff from these people. I want to get stuff from, some rich folks. you know, I want to get stuff from, I don't know, the senator or some stuff. These are the dudes I want to give me stuff. I don't want these guys to give me stuff. I want to give them my stuff so they can have stuff. I don't want them to give me stuff so they could have less stuff. That's insane. So me, that was my personal experience. That's one of the thing I that is one of the things that made me slow down on that kind of thinking. But the thing is, that wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was I didn't know enough about it, so while I was doing it, that's what was happening. But if I had known a lot more about it, I probably would have been a lot more careful about how I would navigate within those regions, which was not the case, unfortunately. But nowadays I do know, and I watch out. So like one of the things they tell you, which brings me up to my next point, one of the things is telling you that, which also yes has something to do with soul searching. I know I'm saying a lot of stuff, but you gotta keep on here. You gotta keep on here. You gotta listen. Anyways, you don't have to listen to every freaking word that I say. Pardon my language, because I'm gonna put it on later on Facebook or Twitter or I don't know, YouTube or something. I don't know. All right. So one thing's for sure is gonna be on Facebook. All right, and if you want to have a personal copy, then hit me up on Facebook, Discord Radio, or hit me up on Discord Radio, Twitter, or my email. Just go to the website and drop me something like over there, and I'll drop you a copy. All right, so like I was saying, where this has a goal with um, soul searching is. Um, my other point I was gonna make is selfishness. All right, I'm gonna talk about selfishness. Now, the correct term is not selfishness, uh, but more of a state of mind. It's not a word, but a state of mind. Whereas you think about what's good for you. Think about how will it empower you or will it disable you if you do certain actions or you help a certain person or you give a certain thing to somebody? Is it going to disable you or is it going to help you? As of where you can live in a how do you say, you can live in a concentration of people where their whole way of thinking is very different from yours. All right. The thing is, you must be careful to who you help out. Basically, you must. It's not a thing about being careful about who you help out. It's being careful about what kind of situation you put yourself in. Because you might have people that will try to you'll give them a hand and they'll take the whole arm. They'll take your whole arm off. And you're like, well, it doesn't matter. I don't mind, man. It's just how it is. Just how it is. For him, that's how it is. Not for you. I mean, for you, you have to do other things in your life. You have to, yeah, you have to see things. You have to travel. You have to know people. You have to get to know people. And by staying in the situation where you're always in a constant loophole of trying to stay afloat because you're giving so much of yourself, but at the same time you have to wait for other people to give some of themselves so you can then again restart the cycle of that, and that makes a lot of people happy. But I guess you what? you're not really happy in that situation. No one is, you know. Even the dude that's taken isn't happy. Why? Because he's taking. He doesn't necessarily have, something, and that sucks. It's part of my language, but that sucks. So the person that's taken is boring for him because he's always taking, and that's his loophole. He has to take, 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 and you're not happy because your loophole is to give, give, give. So no one in that situation is happy. The thing is, the perfect thing is to when you give once and that's it. You don't have to give twice. And what I mean by giving once, I don't mean you give $1 to a dude and then you never give him $1 or never again. No, that's what I'm not saying. You give once, and that's the end of that situation. That's the end of that situation. You don't expect nothing back. You don't want nothing back. You don't hope for nothing back. You don't even wish for something back. When you give, and it's over. You don't nothing. All right. And that, my friend, is going to make you a lot more happy. Why? Because once you do that, you take yourself outside of the situation. All right. You feel me? You following me here? You following me here? Listen. Listen. You take yourself outside of the situation. Once you're outside of that situation, you can see the growth that you had just built. You can see the seed that you have just planted. As of whereas you would have waited for something to get back to you, waited for something to come towards you because of that situation, because you gave something, now you're expecting something back. You're expecting the life to measure the balance. Don't expect life to measure the balance. Stop expecting stuff. All right? Start expecting stuff. Once you give it, and it's over. But your happiness, your true happiness, your self-worth is gonna yourself. You're gonna see yourself once you give that whatever it is, that dollar, to that person, and you see that person grow from that dollar. All right, that's gonna make you. And once you see what happened, what's happening. Sorry about that. I have a bad cold, man. I'm sorry about that. Once you see what's happening to that person, once you gave that dollar and you see him grow, you're seeing yourself. This is what you're doing. This is your power. This is what you did. All right. That person is responsible for his growth. He has personal growth and personal accomplishments also because of whatever he's doing. Don't you worry about it. Don't you feel bad about feeling good about helping someone. All right, because that person probably feels very good about what he's doing at that time, at that day, whatever. So don't you worry about what he's thinking about you. If he thinks he might think he doesn't like you. I don't know. He might not like you in the first place. Probably not. Who cares? That's not important. That's what I'm saying. Don't expect things, because once you start expecting things, especially when you're giving and you're giving, and you're expecting stuff, you're gonna be real disappointed. A lot of times, 10 times, 5 times out of 10, you're gonna be disappointed. So don't try to balance yourself that way, man. You're gonna be very disappointed. You're gonna be very unhappy, and you're gonna ask yourself, "Why am I doing this? I don't get it. This is pointless. This is useless." Because you're not seeing yourself. The point of doing this is the soul search. All right. The point of taking yourself out of this situation is to see yourself. Is to see is this really working? Am I really doing something here? Am I really helping? Because if you just give like I used to do, if I just gave, and I was sitting at home waiting for stuff to happen. Stuff happened, yes, but it wasn't the stuff I wanted. I was unhappy. It was literally pissing me off. It was literally, you might say, some people might say, "Oh, he's crazy. He's saying that he doesn't like to get stuff. What the heck?" Yet no, because I'm a person with I have certain convictions, man. Like I used to watch, old kung fu movies like when I was a kid. So I have this like self-righteous way of thinking or something, But I'm just playing. But you know what I'm saying, like a certain code of honor or some ish like that. So when I'm sitting at home and I wait for the stuff to come and my doorbell rings, and it's the dude that I helped the other day, which I have helped just to help, by the way. I helped him just to help him, by the way. I didn't want him to give me stuff. I gave him the stuff because he needed it. And then he comes by and gives me his stuff. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, keep your stuff, man. Keep your stuff. I want you, to be bigger. I want you to be better. I want you to keep your stuff. This is yours. Be selfish about it. If I gave you something, take it and run. All right, take it, run away. You don't even have to come back here anymore. At least say thank you though. But you don't even have to come back here anymore. Just take it and run. And I was sitting at home, and everybody I was helping was the same people trying to help me back. Now that's normal. Stuff happens. That's how people are. That's what people do. That's how we always work. Since the beginning of time, people will help each other out and stuff, especially if that's your neighbor, cousin, family, whatever. True. All right, I get that. But sometimes, even if it's your family, even if it's your friends, your closest friends, sometimes that person needs to, take a break. Just, take what we give you and just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't owe me anything, man. Like I tell that. I tell that out to people all the time. Now it's even part of my beliefs now. Like when I give something to somebody, you don't owe me nothing. You don't owe me nothing. Don't worry about it. Like, just take it and take it. I wanted to give it to you. It felt good to me. I'm already paid. You don't know that I'm paid, but I'm already paid for the stuff that I gave. So you don't need to give me, stuff. Anyway, so that's what that's why it's important for soul searching also, because when you're gonna do that thing and you're gonna see it and you're gonna look and you're gonna see that person grow, and you're gonna see that person grow because you gave him like 500 bucks, and with that 500 bucks he went out and he got himself a suit. He went out and got himself, he built a CV, or he got himself a cell phone, like a brand new iOS cell phone or something. Now you can call him all the time and stuff, because last week you couldn't call him, but now you can call him all the time and stuff. And he's really happy about his freaking phone. Pardon my language, but he's really happy about his phone, and because he didn't have a phone for the last 2 years, but now he has a phone and he's really happy. He's calling up everybody coming to his house. Just saw him grow out of that, little piece of help that you gave him, as whereas of, you just repeatedly just keep giving stuff to people, and for no apparent reason, and you just keep expecting, and people just keep coming to your door and asking and asking and asking and asking, and nobody's growing. You're losing, they're gaining, or they're losing what they've gained, and you're gaining something else, but you're giving everything you gain. So it's like a vicious circle. Nothing's happening. You're not growing. You're not seeing your potential. You're not seeing your growth. Because sometimes you need to look at someone, or you need to look at something to understand what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I don't know why I just had this uh, what's it called, Animal Planet image in my head. When, well, I do it. I watch Animal Planet, but and sometimes I refer human beings as certain animals, not as an insult, just the way they act. Like a lion cub, like a lion mom, with her children, or wolves, or certain psychological aspect, the loneliness of the wolf pack mentality, or how the lion is the king of the jungle, the alpha male and the stuff like that. So sometimes I watch Animal Planet and stuff, so sometimes by looking at something else grow, and something by looking at something else do and grow, you understand yourself a little bit more. That's why restraining yourself, and stop having this connection to that situation, that helps you understand a little bit more where you're going and what you're doing. All right. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to take a short break. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was good. And we're going to get into some more music here with something a little bit more upbeat. Let's go, yeah, with Louis Vega. and Monique Bingham, Elevator Going Up. And when we get right back after the break, I'm going to talk to you about the correlation between music and spirituality just a little bit. All right, so you're listening to Discord here on Discord Radio. Well, this is not Discord actually. The Discord show is the EDM music, jungle house music show. You listen. I have to think about a good name for this segment. Anyway, so sorry about that. You're listening to Louis Vega. You're gonna listen to Louis Vega, Monique Bingham, Elevator, and you're listening to Set here on Discord Radio. Man, have a good one. Put out his hand, going up, and he held it for her, going up, and she jumped on, going up, kind of smiled, and she started smiling, going up. He had pushed ground, going up, so they went down, going up, and she pushed hand, going up. He gave his hand, going up, he gave his name, going up. She did the same, going up. So where you from, going up, what you've done, going up, and they could feel, going up, what faded seals, and they tell the story of over and over, over and over again. Fade, fade. Oh, can you imagine had you never heard my call? Fade. Or if the happenstance that happened never happened at all. Fade. Or the million things that had to coalesce to make you wait that night. Had I curled my hair or worn a different dress and not been late that night? Had I missed that elevator? Had I missed this lovely bumpy ride? Then had I never met you later? Never felt you sleeping by my side? Just like that elevator, we go up and down, only air beneath the feet. Many, many years later, and I haven't found another lover to compete. Whoa, 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 look what you've done. Not sure who could blame her. No one who's ever felt the feeling she's got for him. Naming on an elevator, he was going down, left again. They laughed at two, past three, past four, and they revealed a little more and more, and by the time past 8, past 9, all we could feel was faded seals, and they tell this story over and over again. Lemon rain instead of clear skies. Thought of just how close they are. We could have almost lost it all in fate. Had the camera in time and you left with your umbrella, and I'll come back to drop it off. Fade, fade, fade. Had it been raining now, had it been raining out, early oh yeah. Going out, she had it way. He held the door, she jumped on, and he saw more. Going out, he gave his hand, she started to smile, and they could feel what they had said. Going up, going up,
And that's our show. Thank you. And good night.
Two, three, four.
lot of stuff. We talked about a lot of stuff. Um, and I'm gonna be off pretty soon, so we're gonna end this on a nice note, just by saying, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope it's gonna be a good year for you guys. 2016 wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was weird, but it wasn't that bad. 2017 is probably gonna get better. Well, hopefully. And but I do hope it gets better for you, man. It's not everybody that had an awful year, so you might want to talk to somebody that had a good year, man. Um, so do that and have a good one. But I'm not off yet. I'm not off yet. We're still gonna keep talking right here. So before the break, I was talking about self-realization. I was talking about basically. I was talking about soul searching and how it correlates with what you need to do to get what you want. All right. Soul searching is very important. Not everybody do it. Not everybody does it. Some people probably should, but not everybody does it. It's a very rare thing, especially nowadays, because, well, the famous phrase says it: "Ain't nobody got time for that." All right, nobody got time for that. Well, nobody got time for nothing. If we have never had time for anything, nothing will get done. All right, so it's a I don't like. It's funny. It's funny to hear it. I don't mind when people say it, but it's a very how do you say a pessimist term. I believe it's a pessimist expression. I believe because it's like giving up on everything because nothing works and I'm just gonna give up. You know, and sometimes it's not even a thing about giving up. It's just replacing something with something else. Like I said, like somebody like most people. I'm especially talking about people in work. They change. They filtrate their emotions and their talents into something else, so they don't have to worry about anything else. Which is not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily bad because the reason why it's not bad is because at least you know how to channel your energy, which is another thing that's still kind of hard of doing. It's still kind of hard to do, to channel your energy into something. It's not that easy. Um, so kudos to the people that can actually do it, but that doesn't mean that that's where it ends. It's not the end all. It's not the tell all end all of it is. So you have to understand what you're doing by doing that thing, and how it affects you. Because at some point it is going to affect you, or it already is affecting you, and you don't necessarily understand why it's affecting you this much, or what is affecting you in a whole. So with that said, we're gonna get into the last bit of information that I was talking about music, the correlation of music and this particular matter. Like the easy thing to say, sorry about that. The easy thing to say about music and spirituality is that like that zone type of spirituality. When you get into zone, when you're doing the hot track, when you're doing the hot track, you're working on a hot track, and you get into that zone where you don't think about anything else, and you filter all your energy into that bass line, you filter your energy in that chord, and your emotion into the chords and the pads and the vibes and the and the and all of that stuff. And you just have a nice track that just came out. It's a hot new mix, and you feel that you actually like emotionally feel it, like it gets to you, and you close your eyes and you just listen to that sound, and you're bumping your head, and you're like, oh man, this track is awesome, man. I can't believe I just did this, man. This everybody gotta hear it, man. And that's the easy part of the evolution of your own spirituality into your transcending into your music. But most people kind of forget that it is spiritual. It is a spiritual experience. It is a form of expression. It is a soul searching. Because everybody has most DJs, not all DJs, sound and look alike, basically, obviously, but not all DJs sound the same way. Some people actually do the spiritual type of house music. Thinking about Black Coffee or even Lou Vega, who is very tribal, or you got drum and bass guys, which is very industrial, very core, very hardcore and core felt. It's like a heartbeat. It's like the heartbeat pumping and racing. It's like an adrenaline rush listening to drum and bass. So that in itself is a form of a spiritual connection within yourself, your emotions, and your feelings, and also your receptivity. As whereof you know that this drum line is gonna go great with this pad, and this pad is gonna go great with this chord mixed with this vocal. It's gonna sound awesome as soon as it's done mixing. So you have a very uh, situation where you know you're listening to yourself and only yourself uh, for creation, you know, which can then transcend itself into life, into a living thing. Well, not a human being, but it's still a living thing. It's still very living. It's vibrant. Music is vibrant. Music radiates. It radiates joy or sadness, depending on what kind of music you're making, or what mindset you're making it in, or depending on the vocals or whatever. But you can make a song be very sad, or you can make a song be very happy. Like on the first episode, I was saying that you yourself, you are like an instrument. You know, yourself, you are like an instrument. You are capable of creating songs within your life. You know, um, whereas you use your mind, you use your mouth, your your taste, your eyes, ears, your body, fingers, to play a certain music. You play a certain music. Um, all of those are instruments that you use. They're your guitar, they're your riffs, they're all of that stuff, man. And once you combine them together in the right way, in the right, coordinated action, on the same yeah, coordinated action, you can then create a song, and that song becomes a reality. It becomes living. It becomes vibrant. It vibrates through life. It's a sound wave. It's an echo. you know Same thing with music. you know um, you feel the music, you understand it, you play it, and then once it's done, totally created, you can then release it upon life, release it upon people, to then themselves understand it and see what they can do with it. And the worst part about it is, also understand how, it's a little bit like I also said a little bit early on, about understanding, giving something to someone, and then seeing how that thing affects uh, the people that you gave it to. Is the same thing with music. You know, you give out your sound, and then you see how people express themselves from that sound that you used. From that sound that you created. You can see a bunch of kids on the corner doing a choreography on that track that you did last week, or you might go. Give me a second now. You might go. Sorry for that little cut there. You might go or at a special event and see that the people are using your track to express themselves on, for a particular fact that it talks to them. They feel it. It feels nice to them. They like expressing themselves to that track. They like using that track for certain things. So you can see how they grow within what you created. So yes, being yourself helps, man. Basically, being yourself helps, man. But you must know who you are. You must know who you are, because a lot of artists is out there. Sorry, I just need to take a little drink there. A lot of artists is out there are definitely, I will not say selling out. I will not use that term, but they're definitely changing their sounds because of certain aspects or situations of civility, whereas a certain group of people need a certain kind of sound to create a certain kind of vibe in a certain kind of place, you know. But fact of the matter is, you started out doing something, that you knew was good to you, that felt good to you, that you understood, that you used to vibe to, you used to vibrate to. Your frequency and your receptivity was based upon that little fact. That you could understand and feel your music, understand and feel your instruments, you know, and it gets lost at a certain point because of, dare I blame work, but because of work, it gets lost somewhere where you actually start to less and less listen to yourself and more to others, which they themselves have no idea who you are, because if we're talking about an artist here, like a very known, well-known artist, all right, people expect something from that person. People listen to that person. They studied that person. They watched every video that person ever made, every podcast that person ever made. They listen to every book that person ever wrote, all the artistic pieces that person ever made. So when he comes around and it's time for him to perpetually shine, people are going to expect him to be him and not something else. As of whereof you are starting, you're an artist, but you're starting something and you get the chance to shine, but then since you don't have as much uh, creations out there, as much you don't have as much vibrations out there. It is easy for you to get lost into the wants and needs of people that want to hear something out of you, that want to hear the same thing that that other dude did, or they want to hear something new, or they want to hear something happy because they know you could do it. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it, you know? So you're listening to a bunch of people telling you, oh, well, I need this sound, I need that sound, I need this sound, man. I know you can do it. You're the greatest. And no, no, no. Okay, you're the greatest. True. You're the greatest. You are the greatest. And it's true. But at the same time, that's not why you're the greatest. It's not because you can do anything. Is because the reason why you're the greatest is because you're you. You're the greatest you around, and there can't be two great yous around. I'm talking about, like, if there's one you, then only you can be great at being you, you know. So you have to be like, and I'm talking to, like, electronic music DJs, man, because most people will tell you that. Some people will diminish your skills because, well, oh well, they're beats that already been used, or they're not actual instruments and stuff like that. Well, that's for them. If that's what they feel, that's what they feel. I don't like all types of music. I listen to some country music for some reason why I don't know why I like the bluegrass type of country music where it's more dudes complain about his wife that left or some stuff like I don't know why I listen I just like it but don't ask me to listen to some cabin party country. I'm not it's not I don't feel it and I could there's some tracks I like but I it doesn't speak to me the same way as bluegrass does or I listen to jazz but I don't listen to all types of jazz. I like some classic saxophone jazz. I like some Coltrane. I like some how do you say Davis. I like some Davis also, but I can't listen to all the jazz because some jazz I think is just some noise. Or I like blues a lot. I might not like all the blues tracks, but I like some blues. But you get where I'm going at here, man. It's like the dudes that was great at being themselves. I think have the most success than the dudes that just cordially agree to do whatever they have to do to be wherever they have to be. Whereas it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do think like if you can balance both, if you can say, okay, I have a contract. Um, I have to do this. I have to do that. I get it. I'm gonna do it. Fine. But in that within that contract, I want space. I want personal space. I want personal creative space where I can be myself. Because this is what my fans, my true fans, and yes, I'm using the word true fans. I know it's politically incorrect here, but I'm gonna use the word true fans. This is what my true fans uh, know from me, and that's what they want to hear from me, and that's what they have to hear from me, or I'm gonna lose them. I'm gonna lose them. And effectively, that is what happens most of the time. Sometimes most of these DJs lose their true fans because, well, they change their format, you know, and 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 they know they changed their format. They know they changed their format, man. It's a contract. I have to do whatever on the contract, but it's your responsibility also to not lose yourself. I'm not saying don't sign the contract. I'm not saying don't make any money. I'm not saying don't do videos. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is uh, in your albums, you have creative space. In your album, you have creative space. In your shows, if you do live shows, you have creative space. You have a place. You need a place. You need to put in that contract also that you want a creative space to be able to create the music that you were signed to make in the first place. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what made you famous. You know, if you can't do that music, it's not the same as not. That's not what I wanted to say. If you don't feel like that's the type of music you want to do anymore, that's fine too. Change is a good thing. That anybody that cannot change, even says in the Bible, people that can't change their mind are crazy. Straight word for word. If you aren't able to change your mind, then you're insane. There is no such thing as someone that has a one-track mind all of the time. For at the beginning, since age 1 to age 100, that's literally like that's you're a robot. If you're like that, you're a robot. You're a literal robot, because only a robot can not change aspects and change his own reality to shift himself through life. That's it's just a normal matter. It's a normal fact. This is what people do. That's why we're humans. Humans always change their minds, sometimes at the last minute, sometimes a lot longer before that. They always change their minds. They're always doing stuff. We're always doing things. We're always evolving. We're always changing. So you not being able to change your mind on things is a very uh, limited space area in your mind that disables you from moving forward. So uh, speaking of music, I think it's the same thing. I think there's artists out there that can actually do lots of things and still be themselves while they're doing it. You know, like whereas you listen to a experimental DJ that's always experimenting with music. You might like soundtracks, you might dislike some, but that's the thing. He's an experimental DJ. It says it in his name, you know. So he feels like, not experimenting anymore would basically be him not being himself, you know. Or maybe through his experiences, he actually found himself. And you might like him even more now that he found his space than before when he was experimenting. The same goes for the contrary. Maybe you'll hate him now that you know, stuck to a certain space, and you thought he was better when he was experimenting, you know. So all of that stuff that I just said right there, that's soul searching, bro. That's soul searching. That's exactly what it is. That's soul searching. Word for word, pound for pound, soul searching. And like I said, it's the easy way. Like most DJs, even I, when I used to DJ when I was young, man, I used to do electronic music when I was younger. I used to do house music when I was younger, and I found myself in that easy space where I could um, drop every aspect of my spiritual life into music and not care about the rest. Like I'll be like people would be pseudo intellectuals would be talking about like, oh, meditation and yoga and Buddhism and blah blah blah, and I'd be like, man, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I know when I make my music I feel all of the stuff you saying, so I don't know, man. And I just drop the conversation like that. But after that, after I lost my album, you know I had to find I had to hit a wall where I didn't feel like going through that whole process. And I didn't feel like going through the whole process of recreating that album. you know I felt through the process like it felt like a loss. It felt like a loss. It felt like I just took a L. I just took a L. So, I got interested in other stuff. Find myself in other stuff, man. I started to check out other things, check out what else can I do? What else am I good at? Started soul searching, you know, where I thought that music was my soul searching, but music wasn't my soul search. It was something else. So, you know, don't what I'm basically saying is for all you DJs out there that understands that aspects of their own creation, don't limit yourself. Even if you're good, even if you know exactly what you're doing, don't necessarily limit yourself to the thing that you're doing, man. Like, like your friends need you too, bro. Like your friends need you too, bro. And people around you need you too, man. And just don't close yourself in your music. And once outside of your music, you don't feel the same way anymore. Like you go back to that persona, or you go back to that ego that you built yourself around to. Bring that feeling out of the music too. Bring that feeling out of the music too. Because if you lose that track, if you lose that album, if you lose that track, you lose your equipment, your DJ equipment. What you got left after? So what's next? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's next? What's happening? So you confine yourself into your music. You just ex machina your music. You just ex machina your music. Now there's no more music. So what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? So you can't. So you telling me you can't bring that? You can't bring those things to the people around you. You don't have to give every part of yourself to people. As a matter of fact, that could be dangerous too. You don't have to give every part of yourself to your people, but when you know what I'm talking about. If you're a real DJ, you know what I'm talking about. Like if you're a real DJ, you know what I'm talking about. That feeling you get once that track is done, it doesn't have to go. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have to leave. You can still feel that around you. You can life can still make you feel that way, you know. You can still be and feel that way after the track is done, you know. So anyway, man, I'm gonna sign off. Um, and on the light, on another lighter note, like I'm saying, like music, electronic music to me is music. You know, there is no such thing as no music or no or a certain kind of music is not music. I don't believe that. I think every kind of music has something good in it. That's why I'm a mellow man. I listen to all sorts of music because I do know and I do think that there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of tracks. Like sometimes I hear French, some French old, you know, Parisian type music, like La Vie en Rose type stuff. And I'm like, man, that'd be a dope hip hop track, man. That'd be crazy, man. Or some Edith Piaf, and I'd be like, yo, that'd be a stupid track, man. Or sometimes I'm listening to hip hop tracks, and I'm like, yo, that'd be a dope, EDM track or something like that. That'd be crazy. As a matter of fact, life imitates art. A lot of rap groups uh, recently, especially in 2015, I think the craze started in 2014, 2015. A lot of hip hop dudes was using EDM DJs to do a lot of tracks. As of Calvin Harris, what's his name? The other dude, David Guetta. David Guetta did a lot of hip hop tracks. They're not really hip hop, but they're hip hop tracks. There's hip hop stars on them, hip hop singers, and stuff like that. So, you got country music that had hip hop stars in it. You had a bunch of mixes. Not everything sounds great. Not everything sounds like a classic, but it didn't all sound bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, a true emotion and a true devotion to a certain sound, yeah, of course, it's gonna be awesome. Of course, it's gonna be awesome. So keep your head up. Whatever you're doing, keep your head up. If you know that's what you're supposed to do, keep your head up, man. Don't worry about what people tell you. All right, listen, but don't worry about it. Because you never know who might tell you what, when, how. So just keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing. Yo, guys, you guys out there doing all those beautiful chill step songs, uh, 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 lounge beats, man, EDM tracks, drum and bass tracks, jungle. You gotta bring the jungle back. Gotta bring the jungle back, man. Jungle tracks are crazy. So bring that back, man. Even to the rock stars out there, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep banging that nice noise, man. Be careful of what you're doing, cause it is part of yourself. Even as yes, I'm promoting being yourself outside of your work, but don't remember that your work represents you, and you don't represent your work. Your work represents you. All right. So don't represent your work. Let your work represent you. So when I look at your work, I know that, oh man, okay, this is how he feels. All right, okay, cool, 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 cool. And I can understand you without having to talk to you or something, man. And even if I don't understand you, at least I feel like it. That's the important part. Anyway, so I'm gonna sign off, dudes and dudettes. Have a good day, night, whatever. I don't know from where you're listening from, but have a good one. And I'll see you probably tomorrow. I'll put it up on Facebook, Twitter, Google Mail, Gmail, whatever. If I'm gonna be on, I probably will. But I have a really, really bad cold, man. So I don't know. I might take a little break. I'll tell you a little bit later, man, because I have a really bad cold. It's insane. So all right, I'm gonna sign off. I'm your host, Set, and this was Discord Radio. Peace. And I'm gonna let you off on this good Menank track, British London, you know, producer with the rhythm came out in 2014. Very nice track. I like it. So I'll see you guys there. Peace. You're listening to Discord Radio. Oh, and special thanks and shout out to all my broadcasting services like Winamp and Shoutcast and Wix.com for my free website. Peace.
If I let the rhythm get to me, then I don't know what I'll be. Think I just might lose my mind. If I let the rhythm get to me, it will take all of me. I'll lose track of space and time. Oh, yeah. Fever pitch just like a shot running through my veins. Oh, yeah. Flick the switch and you'll ignite an eternal flame. If I let the rhythm get to me, then I don't know what I'll be. Think I just might lose my mind. And if I let the rhythm get to me, it will take all of me. So I can't let go this time. This time, 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 it's the sweetest sensation that I've ever known. If he's a beast that makes me mad, the feeling only grows.